Kalau mantan memang hewan. Apa yang Pancasila?
2022, Asian Faculty of Economics and Business Collaborative Working Group. Today, before we begin, I would like to greet each and every one of you, especially all the distinguished and honorable guests, Chief Executive of Banking Supervision of Financial Services Authority, Dr. Dian Ediana Rai, Secretary General Ministry of Industry, Bapak Dodi Widodo, represented Rector of Universitas Pajajaran, Profesor Dr. Rina India Stuti SAMSI, presented by Vice Rector for Research and Innovation, Profesor Dr. Insinyur Hendarmawan MSc. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dona Damelia. I would like to greet each and every one of you. Welcome, and I'm pretty sure we are all in a good spirit today. Welcome to the Global Advanced Research Conference and on Management and Business Studies, or Garcombs 2022, and also ASEAN Faculty of Economics and Business Collaborative Working Group. Today, Friday, we are all gathered in this historical and beautiful building, Savoy Homman Hotel. And on behalf of the organizer, I would like to welcome every one of you and thank you so much for your time. And there are so many VIPs, guests, and speakers, and I'm so happy to be here. I'm pretty sure all of you also so excited about what's going to happen today. And this is a 3 days hybrid event held in Bandung. So not only here in this room, but I also would like to greet everyone on the Zoom meeting. Can I see the faces of our participant in the Zoom meeting? We see them? Or later? Later we will see and greet them. And start from last night, there are welcoming dinner, and today is the point or the main event, and the last day is tomorrow. It happened through the collaboration between Program Studi Doktor Ilmu Manajemen, Himpunan Manajemen Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnis Universitas Pajajaran dengan BUMN Center Unpad, and also Magister Manajemen Keuangan Mikro Terpadu Universitas Udayana dan Universitas Pasundan. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, all the honorable and distinguished guests, before we begin, we will start our event with asking for a blessing to God, by praying to God. Therefore, I would like to invite all of you to humbly bow your head down and pray with your own faith and belief. Prayer may begin. Amen. Now, distinguished and honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, before we move on to our next agenda, for opening, we will sing Indonesia National Anthem, Indonesia Raya. I would like to ask all of you to raise from your seat. And for fellow Indonesia, we can sing Indonesia Raya together. Indonesia Raya.
Indonesia tanah airku, tanah tumpah darahku. Di sana aku berdiri, jadi panggung ibuku. Indonesia kebangsaanku, bangsa dan tanah airku. Marilah kita bersatu, Indonesia bersatu. Hiduplah tanahku, hiduplah negeriku, bangsaku, rakyatku semuanya. Bangunlah jiwanya, bangunlah badannya, untuk Indonesia Raya. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, tanahku, negeriku yang kucinta. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, hiduplah Indonesia Raya. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, tanahku, negeriku yang kucinta. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, hiduplah Indonesia Raya.
Please be seated. To officially begin the event, we would like to hear the opening remarks from Head of Doctoral of Management Science, Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Pajajaran. I would like to invite Professor Yudi Aziz SA, SSI, MT, PhD come to the stage. Profesor Yudi Aziz, kami persilahkan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The Honorable Ministry of Industry, Dr. Agus Gumiwang, and the General Secretary, Bapak Dodi Widodo, the Honorable Vice Rector, Professor Hendarmawan, also the Honorable Prof. Nunui, Dean Faculty of Economy and Business, our distinguished speakers, the Honorable Bapak Dr. Dian Ediana, as Chief Executive of Banking Supervision of the Financial Services Authority, OJK. Thank you for coming. Professor Peter Meyer from Hochschule Osnabrück, University of Applied Science, Germany. Welcome to Indonesia. Also, Dr. Thuy Chung Pan from School of Banking, University of Economics, Ho Chi Minh City from Vietnam. The Honorable also Dr. Bjarni Lik Sorensen, PhD, CEO Siemens, who also joined from online. Yang saya hormati Vice Dean, Prof. Maman, Pak Kurniawan, Head of Department, Head of Study Program, and also Head of Study Centers. Also, the Honorable Director of Financial Services Institution and Strategic Management Regional Office 2, West Java OJK, Bapak Aulia Fadli. In this opportunity, I would like also to give warm regards to our co-host, Dean Faculty of Economy and Business from Universitas Udayana Bali. Welcome to Bandung. And also Bapak Dr. Haji Atang Hermawan, Dean Faculty of Faculty of Economy and Business Universitas Pasundan, with all members from Unpas and Udayana. Also, yang saya hormati Prof. Suharnomo, Ibu Dr. Mary Citra Sondari from the Association Faculty of Economic and Business Indonesia, which also joined through online. Yang saya hormati Prof. Tanti and Prof. Arif from the Association of Doctoral Study Program Indonesia, and all members from the APDMI. Of course, I would like also to give my big respect to my previous head of study program, Kami here, Prof. Suherli, Prof. Erni, Prof. Ina, Pak Dr. Sulaiman, all the professors, Prof. Tadi Marta Fahni ya, Prof. Hamzah Rizzi, and all lecturers. Also, of course, since this is joint event, I would like also to give warm regard to Dr. Chan and Mungkong from King Mongkut's University of Technology of Thonburi, Thailand, to Mrs. Maria Laudis, ASEAN Institute of Management from Philippines, Datin Dr. Izlin bin Ismail, University Malaya, Puan Dr. Siti Nur Farhana from University Malaya, Dr. Agham Kulfas, College of Economic and Management from the University of Philippines, Los Banos. Also Dr. Wardah binti Haji Sumardi, University Brunei Darussalam. All the committee Garcombs, Yulistin, Agus Usman, Bulisa, all students and alumni, all participants, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Firstly, in this wonderful Friday morning, let us thanks and praise to Almighty Allah Subhanahu wa Taala for giving us some blessing, so we can gather in this event in good condition. May salawat and salam praise to the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It is a great honor for me to welcome you all to the 7th of the Global Advanced Research Conference on Management and Business Studies, or Garcom, here at Bandung, West Java, Indonesia. As head of study program, doctoral, it's really pleasure for us to be able to conduct Garcom activities this year, which have become one of important agenda in the study program, because through the conference, we believe we can have an essential part discussion in terms of the scientific and academic process. Doctor of Science Management is part of the Faculty of Economic Business that educates doctoral students through the research to be able to conduct novelty, to give contribution in academic, which also required academic members to enrich and disseminate information, particularly about current issues in business and management. Garcom, we believe, one of the media to get these things done, in which these activities are expected to provide significant benefit for especially doctoral students, lecturers, and of course all participants who attend to this conference. In the 7th Garcom event, the main theme of this occasion is rethinking and creating resilience to improve industry and business sustainability. The choice of this theme indeed cannot be separated from the current condition and development, considering this year and the last year, and also the next years, the challenges will be faced that have yet to abate, along with the increasing global uncertainty, potential economic recession, increasing unemployment, in which will affect industry as well as business. Therefore, we are thank you from the Ministry of Industry, supported by Dr. Dodi, to be able to enhance our collaboration. For more than 2 years, we have faced extraordinary challenges due to COVID-19 pandemic, which has taught us a lot about surviving and how to face various dynamic changes and uncertainty. Our expectation is clear. There are many things to be done in the years to come that require further research to have some solution to cure and to minimize risk. Hopefully, through Garcom event can inspire all of us to rethink and reshape resilience for sustainable industry and businesses. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Garcom was started 2013. Today, it is the 7th. It has been held starting in Bandung at the time, and then moved to Bali, and also to Bangkok, also to France. And last time we held through fully online due to the COVID. And today we are very happy that we can do more hybrid. This is the first time we do a hybrid event. So hopefully all of the participants can benefit to this event. Today, the 7th Garcom is our first time that in the hybrid format, with some speaker and presenter are attending online from this hotel, while others joining through the online platform. So thank you to all the participants that online. Garcom is currently attended by 112 papers that consist of at least 300 authors. That discussing many topics related to business management, especially in terms of the resilience. To report to the Dean and the Vice Rector, the participants coming from many countries, such as Malaysia, Morocco, Cambodia, China, Ghana, Mongolia, Vietnam, Germany, Philippines, and many countries. So these 7 Garcom activities held mainly today until tomorrow. In this morning, we are happy to have many prominent speakers here that of course will share their expertise and insight about the current condition and challenges and how to provide the best solution for business recovery, especially in the pandemic era. After Jumat break, we have the afternoon session that will be parallel session to discuss more detail for each research. This Garcom of this conference event also coincided with the event to commemorate the 65th anniversary of the University Faculty of Economics and Business and also Unpad. And especially we'll also have a new wonderful event that initiated by our Dean, which is the soft launching of the ASEAN Academic Working Group. So this is the special event, thanks to all the committee, also from the rector, dean, and all the vice dean, that we can introduce new agenda today for initiating working group and also to create a forum that to strengthening our regional and also international collaboration. At the end of today, this event, we invite all participants to have a gala dinner in an appreciation award ceremony at the major city. It's very close, just a walking distance from this hotel in the Pendopo, Kota Bandung. And the house is one of the heritage and romantic place, especially at night. So we hope that you can have a memorable and Instagrammable photos. Meanwhile, tomorrow we will have dedicated half day for city tour using bandros. It is a hop in, hop off in the Europe to strengthening networking to those who have registered. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this year also we have supported by many journals, editors that have you seen in the video previously. So I would like to take this opportunity to thanks to all the support partners from International Journal of Service, Economics and Management, Gajah Mada, International Journal of Business, Malaysian Journal of Consumer and Family Economics, Journal of Risk and Financial Management, Journal Aplikasi Management, Journal Business and Management, Indonesia Journal Sustainability, Accounting and Management, In Journal Ilmiah Management and Business, Ekomabis, Journal Economy and Management Business, APB, and also Labuan Bulletin. To conclude this speech, thanks to all those who dedicated to support. So last but not least, would like to extend my gratitude to all the strategic partners, the main sponsors, Ministry of Industry, Republik Indonesia, PT Bank Syariah Indonesia, PT Penjaminan Infrastruktur Indonesia, PT Telkomsel, PT Pindad, Bank BJB, Mitratel. Of course, to our beloved co-host, Udayana University and also Universitas Pasundan. Media partners from Pikiran Rakyat, from Ayo Media, thank you, also from FDWB, who has also published not only this event, but also the idea of this event to the community. Of course, as well as all the committee who have working hard to prepare and to make this event happen. To Yulistin, Agus Usman, Lisa, Pak Nasrullah, Rifki, Fairuz, Nila, Iston, Yuyun, Yufi, and all others participant committee. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, lastly, I hope all agenda discussed in Garcom, in which referred by many prominent speakers, as well as presentation paper, can enrich our knowledge, both theoretically and practically. Please enjoy the show. Happy presenting, happy publishing your papers, and happy networking. Thank you very much for your attention, and thank you again for joining us. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Professor Yudi Aziz, for wonderful opening remarks. Without further ado, we also would like to hear greetings and remarks from Dean of the Faculty of Economics and Business Pajajaran University, yang terhormat Profesor Dr. Nunoy Nur Afiah, SAMS, AKCA. Time is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I think it is a great video, from the committee. Thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning and greeting for all of us. And then maybe from Prof. Yudi Aziz, as the head of doctoral degree in our Faculty of Economic and Business, has perfectly introduced all things. So thank you very much for all the invitation here. And I think, the very greatest glad for us in Faculty of Economic and Business here, we are glad to welcoming you, from several kind of countries, I introduce and Pak Yudi also introduce about our colleague and then partner from Germany, Professor Peter Mayer, and then also our colleague, partner from Vietnam, and also from Thailand, then also from Malaysia, right? And then another, I just forgot about from Europe, there is one colleague, from Europe that will giving a speech, for him, So it is very grateful for us to invite you all, and then we are great that you invited to Bandung. I think we just want to introduce about the the first one is about our pillars in Faculty of Economic and Business. The first, our pillars is divided of 3 pillars, there are about teaching affair, and then about research affair, and also the third is about our community service affair, So it is very important for us, and here, in the special case, we will join you from the pillars of research and publication, because University of Pajajaran always say about our strengthen in the publication for the quality of our research. So this kind of opportunity is very good for us to explore about that, And I also glad that our colleague and our student from doctoral degree and also from master degree, also from undergraduate, to participate all, in this Garcomb for the 7, phase of our title. So it is the one. It is our 3 of pillars. The second, we need to explore more about our Garcomb. Garcomb is the institution that we want to increase more about to greatest for our research quality. And then the second, and it is very important for us in Faculty of Economic and Business, we will join. We will increase our collaboration, especially in the area of Germany here from Professor Peter, and also from our colleague from the ASEAN country. Why? Because we want to collaborate. Indonesia, Europe, and also ASEAN country want to have the increase our quality in 3 pillars: teaching, and then the research, and also in society and community. So after this, after lunchtime, we will collaborate and communicate in more detail about that, and how we can collaborate it well, between us. So thank you very much. Very VIP person here from our General of Industry, Pak Dodi, and also the special guest, yeah, from our ministry. Thank you very much for all. And then for all the committee, thank you very much for great, idea to conduct this organization. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Bu Dono. Hatur nuhun. Ladies and gentlemen, we also would like to hear a message from Rektor Pajajaran University, the Honorable Professor Dr. Rina Indiastuti MSI, but too bad because she has another agenda, so she couldn't make it to join us here. But to extend the message, Professor Rina will be represented by Vice Rector for Research and Innovation, Professor Dr. Insinyur Hendarmawan MSc. So, Bapak Hendarmawan, I would like to invite you on the stage. Time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning, everyone. His Excellency Dr. Agus Gumiwang Kartasasmita MSI, the Ministry of Industry Indonesia, and also the Honorable Pak Dr. Dodi, the Honorable, of course, Professor Dr. Nunui, as the Dean of Faculty Economic and Business of Universitas Pajajaran, the Honorable Professor Yudi Ajis, PhD, as Head of Doctor Management, Universitas Pajajaran, the Honorable Keynote Speaker, Bapak Dr. Dian Ediana Rai, the Chief Executive of Banking Supervision, concurrently member. Sorry, it is very small written. Commission Financial Services Authority, OJK Indonesia. Then my colleagues, the Honorable Professor Dr. Peter Mayer. In the morning, at least 1 hour we discuss. Professor International Economy at the Osnabrück University of Applied Sciences, Germany. The Honorable, as plenary speakers, Dr. Chui Chung Pan. I apologize if my pronunciation is not correct. Coming from the School of Banking, University of Economics, Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. And the Honorable Mr. Barnalik Sorensen, PhD, from CO Siemens, Denmark. The Honorable, all the speakers, distinguished guests and participants, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to convey apologizing from our rector, Professor Rina Indiastuti, could not attend in this conference due to the being lead another agenda. So he assigned me to represent in this conference, to open this conference. This conference gives me immense warmth and a great pleasure to greet all of your present in the interest of the entire committee. It gives me tremendous pleasure to presenting the opening speech amongst the most esteemed personalities who are very eminent in their respective fields. Prior to begin this conference, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to all of you who have sincerely committed to this event to make it a success. This event who have been impossible without the support of each and everyone present here. The Honorable keynote speaker, all speaker participants, ladies and gentlemen, everyone has known that COVID-19 is the biggest public health crisis in a century and has caused the deepest economic recession. So this pandemic has also revealed us that vulnerabilities in the public health system and social safety nets around the world. I believe this conference is very relevant, and I hope that all the keynote speaker and then participant, all speaker, will discuss how major disruption can snowball through interconnected system. Clearly, our societies and economic are not nearly as resilient as we had believed. Meanwhile, the academic community saw a growing body of analysis concerning the impact of COVID-19 on, of course, on a business. However, most of it is still focused on the immediate response. I believe in this conference, sharing and discussion about how is the business must change and extend their view of long-term resilience. How is about determining all ecosystem, communities, economic condition, of course, the rule of law, effective governance, and other. And also to prevent from the anthropizing will able to anticipate and prepare for all future scenarios, minimize the impact of the shock, and recover more quickly from them. And I think it is very important how he is also to build trust and openness, which are essential for the effective and authentic internal and also external communication as well as collaboration. The Honorable Speaker, participate, ladies and gentlemen, again, I would like to convey from our rector, we would like to express our gratitude and high appreciation to all keynote speakers, plenary speakers, and participants, and her message have a nice conference for all the participants. Finally, by giving the praise and thanks to God Almighty, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, I declare that the conference on the 7th, the Global Advanced Research Conference on Management and Business Studies, Garcombs 2022, with the theme of rethinking and creating resilience to enhance industry and business sustainability is officially opened. May we all always be given by God the ability to carry out good deeds. Thank you very much for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oke. Ini untuk meresmikan pembukaan untuk siang hari atau pagi hari ini, Pak, kita juga akan mengundang Pak Prof. Yudi Aziz dan juga Bu Nunui untuk naik ke atas panggung. We're going to officially open Global Advanced Research Conference and Management and Business Studies or Garcom, the 7th Garcom 2022 ya Pak ya, and Asian Faculty of Economics and Business Collaborative Working Group. Please kindly put your hand on the box. Pak Hendarmawan, kemudian Bu Nunui dan juga Pak Yudi Aziz. Now, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It start scanning and soon we'll officially open Garcombs 2022 and Asian Faculty of Economics and Business Collaborative Working Group. It's granted ya, ini akan langsung kita mulai 1 Garcom 2022 and soft launching Asian Faculty of Economics and Business Collaborative Working Group today. Thank you so much. Dan selain ini juga nanti kita masih ada agenda-agenda lainnya. There are so many agenda today. Dan masih saya tahan dulu bapak-bapak dan ibu di atas panggung ya. Because next, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to witness the collaboration between Doctoral of Management Science Pajajaran University and Udayana University in the future. So they're going to sign letter of intent. Will be signed by Bu Nunui, and I also would like to invite Dean of Udayana University Bali, the Honorable Bapak Agus Ganesa Rahyuda SEMT PhD, and will be witnessed by Pak Hendarmawan dan juga Pak Yudi and all of us in this room. Atau diwakilkan, Bapak Dekan diwakilkan atau bagaimana? Dari Udayana? Oh sudah? Oke. Kami persilahkan. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, now the process of signing a letter of intent between Pajajaran University and Udayana University Bali. Next, after Okay, we will document it first. Kita abadikan terlebih dahulu. Ini adalah hari yang bersejarah ya, Bapak, Ibu, semuanya, tamu undangan yang terhormat. Next, there's also a souvenir exchange ya. Ada tukar menukar plakat juga, boleh panitia dipersiapkan. Oke. Akan dipersiapkan, sudah ada untuk agenda selanjutnya. Karena setelah ini masih ada rangkaian acara yang lain. Oke, here we go. Dari Udayana, from Udayana University to Pajajaran University. Give a round of applause, everyone. And next is from Pajajaran University to Udayana Bali University. Okay, thank you so much, and ladies and gentlemen, can we give one more time a round of applause for this cooperation between Pajajaran University and Udayana University. Bapak, Ibu boleh kembali ke tempat sambil pihak panitia juga akan merapikan. And next, ladies and gentlemen, of course, this Garcombs 2022 and soft launching Asian Faculty of Economic and Business Collaborative Working Group is proudly presented by Doctoral of Management Science Program Pajajaran University. And also we would like, on behalf of the organizer, I would like to thank our sponsor and media partner, Kementerian Perindustrian Republik Indonesia. Boleh tepuk tangannya, Bank Syariah Indonesia, give a round of applause. And there's also PT LEN juga sudah menjadi sponsor untuk acara hari ini Garcombs 2022. PT PI Penjaminan Infrastruktur, Guarantee and Infrastructure. And next we also have Telkomsel Indonesia. And we have Otoritas Jasa Keuangan. And as a sponsor, also Mitratel by Telkom Indonesia. We also would like to thank our sponsor to Bank BJB. And we also have PT Pindad. Would like to thank PT Jamkrida Jabar, solusi KUMKM masyarakat Jawa Barat. Our media partner, Forum Diskusi Wartawan Bandung, ayoindonesia.com, and Pikiran Rakyat. Garcombs 2022 and self-launching Asian Faculty and Economics and Business Collaborative Working Group. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are going to start the event because this is, I will give you a little bit information about this event. This is the collaborative working group, yeah, and very delighted to have this excellency. We will have His Excellency Minister of Industry of Republik Indonesia. Now, this morning, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to request the honor of His Excellency Minister, the message of wisdom virtually. Please welcome His Excellency Bapak Dr. Agus Gusmiwang Kartasasmita MSI.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan, dan tentu salam sehat. Yang terhormat, Bapak Menko Perekonomian, Bapak Erlangga Hartarto, Ibu Rektor Universitas Pajajaran, Profesor Dr. Rina Idiastuti, Ibu Dekan Fakultas Ekonomi Bisnis Unpad, Profesor Dr. Nunui Nur Afiah, Ketua Prodi Dr. Ilmu Manajemen Fakultas Ekonomi Bisnis Unpad, Profesor Yudi Aziz, para hadirin sekalian yang berbahagia. Pertama-tama marilah kita panjatkan puji syukur kehadirat Allah Subhanahu wa taala, karena berkat limpahan rahmat dan hidayahnya kita semua dapat bertemu secara langsung dalam acara International Conference Garcombs 2022 dengan tema Rethinking and Creating Resilience to Enhance Business and Industry Sustainability. Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, pada kesempatan ini saya ingin menyampaikan kinerja positif pertumbuhan sektor industri pengolahan non migas pada triwulan 2 tahun 2022 sebesar 4,88% dengan kontribusi terhadap PDB nasional tercatat sebesar 16,1%. Nilai ekspor industri tercatat sebesar 156,18 miliar dolar sampai dengan bulan September tahun ini, atau berkontribusi sebesar 71,20% terhadap total ekspor nasional, serta memberikan surplus pada neraca perdagangan sebesar 20,78 miliar dolar Amerika. Nilai investasi di sektor industri pengolahan non migas sampai dengan triwulan 3 2022 sebesar 343,06 triliun. Dan PMI atau Purchasing Managers Index Manufaktur Indonesia di bulan Oktober tercatat sebesar 51,8 poin. Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, dalam ranah rantai pasok atau supply chain, efisiensi adalah faktor penting. Ketika suatu bahan baku diproses dan menjadi barang jadi, kemudian diteruskan kepada konsumen, efisiensi memegang peranan yang penting sekali lagi. Salah satunya berkaitan dengan ketersediaan sumber daya, yaitu bahan baku tersebut. Ketika permintaan konsumen terus meningkat dan proses produksi terus berjalan, maka sumber daya untuk bahan baku harus terus tersedia. Hal itulah yang menjadi titik penting dari konsep ekonomi sirkular atau circular economy. Ketersediaan sumber daya yang terus berkurang dapat diambil langkah dengan memanfaatkan limbah dan sisa produksi yang tidak terpakai serta barang-barang pasca konsumsi. Melalui penerapan ekonomi sirkular, limbah yang tidak terpakai dan barang pasca konsumsi dapat diperbaiki dan digunakan kembali sehingga memperpanjang umur guna, dimanfaatkan kembali menjadi bahan baku daur ulang, dilakukan proses produksi kembali, dan selanjutnya akan menjadi produk baru yang sampai kepada konsumen. Ekonomi sirkular merupakan langkah yang tepat dalam mendukung keberlangsungan proses produksi. Efisiensi akan sumber daya bahan baku diperlukan untuk menghindari eksploitasi sumber daya alam. Sementara sebanyak 268 juta orang penduduk Indonesia menghasilkan 67,8 juta ton sampah, yang mana apabila konsep ekonomi sirkular tidak diimplementasikan, maka dapat menjadi menipisnya sumber daya alam, degradasi kualitas lingkungan, dan juga krisis iklim. Karena itu, sejalan dengan RPJMN 2020-2024 dan kajian Bappenas pada tahun 2014-2015, Kementerian Perindustrian telah memetakan potensi pengembangan ekonomi sirkular berdasarkan potensi timbulan barang pasca konsumsi dan keberadaan industri daur ulang dan industri pengguna bahan baku daur ulang. Hasil pemetaan menunjukkan potensi pengembangan ekonomi sirkular pada 10 sektor, yaitu elektronik, kemasan, plastik, kertas, tekstil, scrap logam, kaca dan keramik, alat transportasi, ban dan karet, serta furniture. Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, Indonesia telah mengadopsi konsep circular economy dan mencantumkan agenda ekonomi sirkular di dalam RPJMN 2020-2024 sebagai prioritas nasional. dengan tujuan penguatan ketahanan ekonomi dan pembangunan rendah karbon. Ekonomi sirkular diyakini dapat menjadi solusi penting untuk mencapai tujuan pembangunan berkelanjutan atau SDGs pada tahun 2030. Di dalam kebijakan sektor industri, ekonomi sirkular terletak di dalam kebijakan industri hijau, di mana dalam kebijakan tersebut mewajibkan bagi perusahaan industri dan perusahaan kawasan industri untuk memanfaatkan sumber daya alam secara efisien, ramah lingkungan, dan berkelanjutan. Selain itu, melakukan pemanfaatan sumber daya alam secara ramah lingkungan dan berkelanjutan dilakukan melalui pemilihan bahan baku, efisiensi proses produksi, pengurangan limbah, penggunaan kembali, pengolahan kembali, dan juga pemulihan. Sementara arah dari kebijakan industri hijau sendiri secara holistik yaitu terkait dengan pertama, peningkatan efisiensi produksi dan sumber daya, kedua, pengembangan produk hijau, ketiga, efisiensi energi dan pemanfaatan energi bersih atau EBT, keempat, penurunan emisi gas rumah kaca dan limbah. Sedangkan yang kelima, efisiensi dan ketahanan air sektor industri. Keenam, penerapan ekonomi sirkular dan 4R atau 4R. Dan ketujuh, peningkatan pekerjaan hijau atau green jobs. Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, potensi dalam penerapan ekonomi sirkular di Indonesia sangatlah besar, mulai dari penghematan energi, sumber daya, sampai penciptaan lapangan kerja. Dengan didukung oleh peluang ekonomi sirkular di Indonesia, diharapkan hasil yang didapatkan juga maksimal. Demikianlah yang dapat kami sampaikan pada acara hari ini. Mari kita bersama-sama, pemerintah, akademisi, dan para pemangku kepentingan berjuang untuk industri yang berkelanjutan. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. His Excellency Bapak Dr. Agus Gumiwang Kartasasmita. And next, ladies and gentlemen, we will have the Honorable Chief Executive of Banking Supervision of the Financial Services Authority, OJK Indonesia, Bapak Dr. Dian Ediana Raya. Let's give him a round of applause.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Good morning everyone. Honorable Ibu Bapak Dodi Widodo, Honorable Vice Rector Professor Hendar Mawan, and also Deans of the Faculty of Economics and Business University Pajajaran, Ibu Dr. Nunui Nur Afia, Head of Doctorals of Management Science, Faculty of Economic and Business University Pajajaran, Professor Judy Aziz, and all speakers. And I'm sorry that I always feel great to be here in Bandung, actually. The city when I was born and raised. And certainly I'm also a graduate from University of Pajajaran. That's why the reason why I'm here today to give you a speech. And Tina always insists, for me to come to talk in this very important conference. So I think, to be honest, I think actually I would like also to talk in front of you with a impromptu mode. But actually, since the issue that I'm going to present is a very serious one, please allow me to read my presentations. This is going to be a new policy that we are going to pursue as a members of the Board of Commissioner of OJK, and also as the Chief Executive of Indonesian Banking Supervisions. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure to be here today in this conference. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the committee of this conference for inviting us and providing us the opportunity to be a keynote speaker to share about this resiliency in the banking sectors. The resilience of banking sectors, ladies and gentlemen, in the third quarter of 2022, Despite of the external volatility, Indonesian banking sector remains stable, adequate, with a manageable credit risk. It is shown by some main indicators such as loan growth, third-party fund growth, liquidity, credit risk, net open positions, and capital adequacy ratio. As we are all aware, nowadays we are faced with extensive strategic issues that has become a future challenge for our banking sectors. Globally, there are 5 main issues that are happening and impacting our banking industry. First is post-pandemic policy response. As the regulators, OJK needs to consider and anticipate the scaring effects, recovery and cliff effect of the pandemics in all sectors. The second one is the volatility, uncertainty, and complexity and ambiguity that caused by the global geopolitical tension is a challenge that are faced globally. Volatility of commodities and energy prices, supply chain uncertainty, complexity of global economic issues, and policy uncertainty have to be addressed accordingly. Third, the uncertainty that happen around the globe will bring spillover effect to the economy, such as inflation hike, interest rate hike, economic slowdown or stagflations, and increase of energy price. Fourth, the acceleration of digitalizations and emerging technology in financial sector pose challenge to the banking sectors. Development of metaverse, crypto assets, and emerging technology give unknown risks for the bank, especially with the challenge in industry preparedness in the aspect of people, process, and technology to manage and mitigate the risk. The banks also need to assess the risk posed by the development of central bank digital currency, what's so-called the CBDC. Lastly, the climate change has become the world's main concern lately. The financial risk as a result of climate change, zero emission targets, and transition risk, and physical risk, and how the regulator has to respond to the climate-related issue with the policy recommendations. Other than global issue, there are also structural issue faced by the banking industry. First, the demand for strengthening industrial structure to give competitive advantage to our banks by implementing minimal capital adequacy ratio, involving and preparedness of rural banks in payment system, and also strengthening the risk management of the banking sectors. Second, structural issue is digital transformation, acceleration that is inevitable for today's business. The emergence of digital banking provide opportunity and challenge for banks and for the community. Nevertheless, there are challenges that need to be anticipated, including cyber threats and attack, basic infrastructure preparedness, and bank collaboration and connectivity. To overcome those issues, as regulators, OJK main challenge is to focus on reformations of the regulatory, licensing, and supervision in the banking sectors that support by the 4 aspects, including people, process, technology, and cooperation and collaborations. OJK commits to fulfill mandates to regulate and supervise financial service sectors while ensuring customers and public protection. In order to achieve that, OJK formulate OJK Destination Statement 2022-2027 that state as follows: to develop a healthy, efficient, and integrity financial services industry, and to strengthen customer and public protections in order to enhance market deepening, financial inclusion, and financial sector stability. Ladies and gentlemen, the global economy has demonstrated significant resilience through the COVID-19 pandemic, bouncing back faster than expected. Economic momentum remains strong, but nations and organizations are encountering cross-current in supply chains, workforce availability, and inflation. To build a better future, the emphasis must now shift from defensive measures and short-term goals to a sustainable and inclusive growth agenda. There are three considerations suggest the path forward. One is take a broad view of the resilience agenda. All the moments, resilience agenda need to emphasize on the interdependencies between all related aspects. And also they have to consider the inflation, supply chain disruption, digital economy, labor shortage, and inequality has to be addressed together, not with overly specialized solution in organization silos. Such an approach does not adequately address interdependency that exists between them, and the broader, longer-term trend driven by the climate change, societal developments, and geopolitical dynamic. Strategies and structure have to be designed for flexibility and speed. When circumstances change, so too must respond of business and government. To face uncertainty, our organization have to be flexible and always learning. Last one is build societal resilience beyond building resilience in a business and economy. Truly sustainable and inclusive growth solutions go beyond improving business and economic performance. They also contribute to the operations and sustenance of the natural environments and rich low-income countries, and truly improve the life and livelihood of historically marginalized population segments. The adoption of environmental, societal, and governance standards and metrics can help optimize strategy for positive social impact. Business resiliency, especially during the pandemic, must be worked out both internally and externally. OJK play a vital role in strengthening resilience for the banking industry and its customers through packages of counter-cyclical measures. One of the most notable measures is the relaxation policy of loan restructurings, which enable banks debtors to reallocate loan installment payment to increase cash for business continuity. OJK issue regulations which regulate as follows: relaxation on determining loan performance, determining restructure loan quality and performance as a guarant, and now loan facility for the debtor impacted by COVID-19. OJK strengthened banks' resilience through, among others, one is order bank to increase capital resilience and readjust loan loss provision to a more adequate level. So banks will be better prepared to face the deteriorating scenarios of increasing loan and liquidity risks. And we also order banks to assess restructure loan performance regularly, provide financing to commodity-based sectors and other economic sectors with high energy consumption prudently in the midst of increasing domestic energy price. And the third one is push multi-finance to diversify source of fund to anticipate liquidity interrelatedness with accelerated loan growth in banking sectors. And lastly is to supervise banking and insurance industry to implement prudential principle in financing and its insurance coverage. Ladies and gentlemen, with regard to resilience in banking sectors, financial resilience is not the only main issue and focus of the regulators. Significant operation disruption would inevitably test improvement to the financial system resilience. Therefore, as an industry that relies on customer trust, operational resilience is very important for banking sectors. In light of the critical role that banks play in the operation of the global financial infrastructures, increasing the resilience would provide additional safeguard to the financial system. There are some principles for operational resilience which are organized across the following 7 categories: governance, operational risk management, business continuity planning and testing, mapping of interconnection and interdependency of critical operations. Third, partly dependency management, incident management, and resilient information and communication technology, or ICT, including cybersecurity. Operational resilience techniques techniques have evolved over times and incident from the traditional business continuity approaches. The changes mainly take place on governance, organization's focus, integration, measurements, and preparedness. On governance, previously, action from board was mainly respond to event and took place post-event. This was due to inexistence of resilient programs on organization risk appetite statement. In today's operational resilient approach, these events are anticipated, stated in organization risk mitigations, which are derived from clear roles and responsibility of boards and management. On the organizational focus, traditionally organization focus on internally trigger event and its impact to business unit or asset level. Now organization allocate more focus on external factors, especially macroeconomic perspective, which may have bigger impact to organizations' resilience. On the integration, those impacts mentioned above are analyzed partially on each business unit or asset. Now analysis is conducted to cover dependency aspect of business unit and asset too. On measurements, as organizations learn from previous experiences, they understand that this disruption scenario must be more diverse while its impact must be analyzed. Specifically, to be critical business process of organization. In order to do that, business must first identify its critical asset and business activities in order to determine analytical tools and mitigation programs. On preparedness, as organizations understand that being unprepared would cost organizations significantly. Now organization plans and capabilities are monitored, tested, and adapted more frequently to maintain its effectiveness and availability. Ladies and gentlemen, OJK support the development of an environmentally friendly financial institution system in Indonesia through the Sustainable Finance Roadmap Phase 1, 2015 until 2019, with focus on enhancing awareness of business sectors in implementing sustainable finance, followed by Sustainable Finance Roadmap Phase 2, 2021 until 2025, with 7 main components, namely establishing policy, increasing awareness, providing capacity and skillful human resources, non-government support, coordinations among ministry and agency coordination, and also market infrastructure and product. OJK stipulates several supporting incentive and policy to support the implementation of sustainable finance. OJK regulation concerning the implementation of sustainable finance for financial institutions, issuers, and publics, which regulate the obligation to implement sustainable finance principle. Regular submission of the Sustainable Finance Action Plan, along with Bank Business Plan, Sustainability Report, along with Annual Report. OJK regulation concerning the issuance and terms of green bonds, which include incentive to reduce levies in the issuance of green bonds in capital market. OJK encouraged the acceleration of financing for battery-based electric motorized vehicle, or KBLBB, by banks with several incentives. In January 2022, the President of the Republic Indonesia, together with OJK as a lead coordinators and various related ministries and agencies, launched the Indonesian Green Taxonomy as a guideline for classifying economic activities that support efforts to protect and manage the environment as well as mitigate and adapt climate change. Following up on the publication of the guidance document called Principle for the Effective Management and Supervision of a Climate-Related Financial Risk by BCBS, OJK, or Banking Committee on Basel Committee on Banking or on Banking Supervisions, OJK has been preparing a consultative papers document related to climate risk disclosure, which consists of application of the precautionary principle and process to identify, measures, evaluate, monitor, report, and control or mitigates the impact of financial risk due to climate risk on the credit risk exposures. OJK continuously enhance the banking supervision with relevant knowledge regarding sustainable finance. OJK also placed some bank supervisors as a representative within international association and bodies such as Central Bank and Supervisor Network Greening for Financial System or NGFS to enhance the role of financial system to manage risk and mobilize capital for greens and low carbon investment in broader context of environmentally sustainable development. Collaborative planning and works also done with Indonesian Ministry of National Development Planning or Bappenas, Ministry of Finance, Bank Indonesia, Minister of Environment and Forestry, Minister of Energy, Minister of Agriculture, and so on to establish national planning long-term and medium-term goals to ensure the achievement of net zero targets through sustainable economy. I think this will conclude my speech. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Pak Hadian, I would like to ask you to remain on the stage because after this, there's a special gesture, thankful gesture for Pak Hadian from Unpad University. I would like to invite Bu Nunui because there's a special merchandise we would like to give it to you. And it will be handed over by Dean of Faculty of Economy Pajajaran University, Bu Nunui Nur Afia. Organizer are preparing the special merchandise. And then we would like to take a picture. Boleh ke tengah? Nah, ini dia. Give a round of applause, everyone. And we also would like to take a picture, ya. Boleh kita berfoto terlebih dahulu ya Bapak ya. Kita boleh mengundang dari our guest from Asian. Also, I would like to invite you join us on the stage. And of course, Bapak Dodi Widodo, kemudian juga Bapak Hendarmawan, kemudian Pak Yudi, Prof. Mayor. I also would like to invite you join us on the stage. Dr. Tui, from the ASEAN Faculty on Economics and Business Collaborative Working Group. We also would like to invite you to join us on the stage. Pak Kurniawan, Pak Maman, and our professor, I also would like to invite you to join us on the stage to document this moment. Prof. Suherli, Prof. Ani, Prof. Ricci, Prof. Erni. Boleh kita abadikan terlebih dahulu ya, berfoto terlebih dahulu. We would like to take a picture first. Okay, because ladies and gentlemen, after this, Pak Diana Rai have another duty calling, so he will leave the venue early. So that's why we're going to take a picture together first. Okay, not only on the stage, but I will also would like to ask you to come down, join our guest, and we will take a picture from different angle, yeah. So all the participant, I will ask you to raise from your seat. Dipersilahkan untuk berdiri. So all of you can be on the frame, inside the frame, and we'll take the picture, all of us. Get ready with the wide smile.
And we have a motto, leading and inspiring from all of us, ya. Leading and inspiring like that.
Begini ya Bu ya, oke. Your hand, you can put your finger like this. Okay. Leading and inspiring, okay. Are you guys ready? Let's take a picture. Tim dokumentasi sudah siap. 1, 2, 3. Kita sekali lagi. 1, 2, 3. Leading and inspiring. Okay, thank you so much. Now, all of you can kembali duduk ke tempat ya. You can now back to your chair. Now we are all already have we are all witnessing the togetherness in this event, Garcomb, the 7th Garcomb 2022. Tentunya sekali lagi atas nama panitia penyelenggara dari Doctoral of Management Science Program Pajajaran University, would like to thank Chief Executive of Banking Supervision of the Financial Services Authority atau OJK Indonesia, Bapak Dr. Dian Ediana Rai, because he already give a time for us, join us here in this event, but don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We will continue with our another agenda. Okay, I guess now we will continue to next step of the 7th Garcomb 2022. On behalf of the organizer, one more time I would like to thank Bapak Dian Ediana Raya. Boleh tepuk tangannya sekali lagi, give a round of applause. Thank you so much, Pak Dian. Next, ladies and gentlemen, we also would like to listen the knowledge, insight from our special speaker, Professor Dr. Peter Meyer from Hochschule Osnabrück University of Applied Science, Germany. I hope I'm not pronouncing wrong, Professor. I would like to invite you on the stage. Time is yours. Please give a round of applause.
So, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, honorable representatives of the government of the university. It's a great honor to be here today and to speak to you to this topic. And I'm looking forward to our discussion today. And I have actually 6 slides, so maybe we can start now with my slides. Basically, when I looked at your topic, which is looking at resilience in the nowadays world, I felt you couldn't have chosen a better topic. Resilience is the mega topic together with sustainability and climate change at the moment in Europe, in the United States, and I think here in Asia. So resilience, you know, I attended 4 years ago, I attended a lecture series on resilience, and we still had to explain at that time what is resilience. And now, all of a sudden, when we talk about resilience, we realize resilience is actually the key characteristic we need to ensure for our economy and for our businesses. So well chosen. First one, the term. What is actually the term? When you look at it, I mean, I'm an academic, so I start my presentation with a definition. And so I looked at some academic definitions, at some definitions by ministries. So I took the one from the United States. The term resilience describes the ability to recover quickly from a shock, the ability to withstand a shock, and the ability to avoid the shock altogether. So different dimensions. Please, we have to keep that in mind. When we think about resilience, there are different dimensions of resilience. You might not even have the shock because you are having structures which avoid the shock altogether, or you have the ability to survive the shock because you have power, you have strength, you have agility, and the like. In the Harvard Business Review article on resilience, there is even another dimension that is not only surviving the shock, but rather thriving through the shock, being stronger afterwards. So it's a different dimension. It's a new dimension. So let's keep that in mind when we discuss resilience. Next slide, please. So when we discuss resilience, we have to actually clarify what is the perspective. And I liked the presentation we just listened to this morning. It was quite an impressive one. And it shows that Indonesia is actually quite well prepared in terms of resilience for the financial sector. But when we talk about resilience, there are 3 levels, I think, we have to distinguish. There is the national level, the society's level, there is the business level, and there is the individual level. My first exposure to resilience was at the individual level. So I actually was introduced to the topic about resilience by a psychologist. And the psychologist was asking, how come that some people survive a personal trauma, maybe having been in an accident or having experienced the death of a relative or so, how come that some people are strong afterwards and others are weak? What makes people resilient? That is the personal level. So when you look at the resilience literature, quite a number of people look at it from this angle. Human resource management, how to have resilient people. The business level is, we look at the companies. How can we create companies which are resilient, which survive the shock, which thrive in difficult periods? And we have the society's level. Now, when we think about resilience, what we always have to keep in mind is that these levels are interconnected. If we have strong employees, if we have strong citizens who are resilient, they will influence the business level. And the same applies for the business level. The more fragile the business level, the more fragile, the more at risk is actually the society. Now I want to give you 2 examples of, please next slide. I want to give you 2 examples about resilience, and I want to share with you the European Union's perspective. And it fits very well in what we just listened to for the financial sector here in your country. The European Union has adopted a number of policies saying that resilience is the new compass for the European Union. So a new term has actually transformed into being so important that we are saying now it's the compass for the future. We have to have a resilient society. And the European Union is identifying resilience. Let's look at how they define. Resilience refers to the ability not only to withstand and cope with challenges, but also to transform in a sustainable, fair, and democratic manner. And they identify 4 areas. First area, the social and economic situation. So the European Union is saying, if the economy is fragile, if the social system is fragile, we will not be able to actually come out strongly when we are confronted with a macroeconomic shock, when we are confronted with volatility. So the first challenge is to look at the fragility, to look at the instability, to look at the risks at the social and economic level. The second level is the geopolitical dimension. In which way are we actually dependent on what is happening in other countries? That is true for you in Indonesia, that is true for us in Europe, that is true for the United States. How much are we affected by the crisis in other countries? The third dimension is the green dimension. Nowadays, I think we just listened to this presentation and it was mentioned as well, climate change is the mega topic of our time, of the future, of your future, you PhD candidates. The green development of our planet is key for our future. And so the question is, how can we be resilient in terms of climate? How can we make sure that we are not so much negatively affected, I would say nowadays, by the climate change? How can we mitigate the challenges? And the fourth one is the digital dimension. We have the older people in this room, including myself, grew up in a period where digital technologies did not play a role. Now digital technologies, they influence everything. And because of that, and we are happy to see that, but because of that, we are actually fragile. We can be affected by a cyber attack tomorrow. And it's true. So many companies in Germany, in Europe, in your country, report about cyber attacks. Our systems need to be such that we are resilient. So the challenge of developing resilience from a societal perspective need to be thought along these lines. That is the way the European Union wants to do it. And they want to do it by looking at a regular foresight process. So they want to develop, and they are in the process of doing so, they want to develop a dashboard for all these 4 criteria where we actually regularly look at what are the challenges in economic and social dimension, in geopolitical dimension, and so forth. So what are the key solutions we look at? At the moment, the Europeans think in terms of agility. We have to be more agile, we have to be faster, we have to be more flexible. And the second dimension is we have to be more diversified. We have to be more diversified at the economic level and especially at the geopolitical level. We realize that when we are not having diversified supply chains, when we are not ensuring that we have multiple partnerships with other countries, we might be in trouble. Next slide, please. So this is the European Union's perspective. We could do the same for Germany. It would be the same. We have the social, economic and social system. We have the geopolitical system. We have the green dimension and the digital dimension. But there is yet another dimension, which is the business level. And the business level needs to look at it in its own way, because the business level has its own challenges. And I follow here an approach chosen by McKinsey, and McKinsey identified the following dimensions of resilience. There is financial resilience, as we just heard in the last presentation, financial resilience, operational resilience, I explain it in a minute, technological resilience, organizational resilience, reputational resilience, and the business model. Let's go step by step. The financial resilience. If companies are financing their operations in such a way that a small shock increase of interest rate would destabilize their activities, they will be in trouble. So we need to think about our businesses in terms of financial resilience. The second one is operational resilience. How much is our operational model, how we operate, how we work, affected by disruptions? We live in a time of disruptions. We live in a time where we need to reflect on maybe a macroeconomic shock tomorrow, maybe a political shock and the like. So how much is our operational model affected? The third one would be the technological resilience. How much do we depend on the technology we have chosen? Do we have alternatives to the technology we have chosen? Can we switch? The fourth one is the organizational resilience, the previous speaker was talking about that as well. How much can we actually change our organizational model? Do we have to adjust? We read on a daily basis about companies adjusting their organizational structure in order to stay actually resilient, to make sure they would survive the shocks. Reputational resilience. We could take the example of the financial system. We had recently a banker talking to our students in Germany, and he was describing how banks are nowadays in danger of giving loans to companies which might be involved in some shady deal somewhere, and that would feed back into their own reputation. So if you want to be resilient, you have to look beyond your client. You have to look at the client's reputation. You have to look at the client's stability, and you have to look even at the client's clients. So if you are seeing resilience in such a wider perspective, it becomes a very complex issue. And finally, the business model. So how much is actually the business model made in such a way that we would survive? We could apply that to the banks, we could apply that to a university. We have a business model, and all of a sudden we are realizing students don't come to campus, they want to have online courses. How much can we actually adjust our model in order to address the issues? So ladies and gentlemen, my main point is your topic, resilience, is wonderfully chosen. I congratulate you for choosing such a topic for a meeting of PhD candidates. I'm sure this overall topic of resilience is a wonderful sort of overall theme for lots of research in all sorts of dimensions. Is it into the issue of the economy and social system? What kind of social system do we need? Do we need more social welfare mechanisms? Do we need less? Do we need the American style or the European style social system, the Japanese style? Do you, for example, here in Indonesia, what kind of informal mechanism do you have, and the like? So research on the economic and social system, but as well on the diversification. What is the lesson learned? What are the lessons we can learn from realizing that the international environment has become more volatile? What should the government do? Should we force the companies to diversify? Should we leave it up to the companies? And the green development, the ESG, he mentioned it. The ESG is such a powerful development in the world. How can we respond? Now your country, Indonesia, committed in the G20 meeting on Wednesday for net zero target in 2050. 2050, it sounds far away, but it's not. This is a really relevant decision, and so what does it mean if you commit to ESG? How can we translate ESG into the reality? And finally, the digital world. What can we do? Nowadays, we are in a very tricky situation, given the conflict between China and the US, and we have to decide how we play such games. So there is room for much research. So I think the topic is well chosen. I congratulate the organizers, the universities who were behind that topic, and I wish you well. You PhD candidates who contribute to the debate, I'm looking forward to read some of your papers, and finally I want to thank the organizers for inviting me. It's a great honor. I'm very pleased. I feel deeply honored to have this opportunity to share the perspective from the European Union on this issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Meyer. But before we end this session and move to another session, I believe that we still have a little bit of time, so we will open a short Q&A session. So everyone in this audience, everyone in this room, if you have a question for Professor Meyer, just raise your hand, and then magically a microphone will come to you, so you can ask your question. Just raise your hand. Don't be shy. If you have a question about the material that Professor Meyer gave before, you can just raise your hand. Dibantu mikrofon ke, nah ini. Kami persilahkan. Oke, bisa Pak? Coba sebentar saya bantu. Bisa? Cek. Nah.
Thank you very much, Professor Meyers. It's very interesting about talking and discussing about resilience. I want to deeply more information for you if we discuss about industrial resilience. Where is the raw material is short, it's very limited. Like we're talking about nickel. It's just in Indonesia. But all of the words looking to have a raw material from nickel Indonesia as a source for their industry, for their input. But the problem, we need this raw material to boost our resilience, especially as nations. In the other hand, the developed country to see us as like nations is greedy. Yeah, just one competitiveness and value added just for Indonesian, for limited nations. And some nations to see how to put Indonesia in the things, because like in forward, see Indonesia nation like a greedy nations. And what's your comment for the opinion like that? Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, good. Your president visited Germany recently, and your president gave interviews in the international media on this issue. So what is your strategy? And my understanding is that your president or your government's perspective is to develop your own car industry, in which you battery industry, where you would develop the industry here, the places, the employment here in Indonesia. And to me, it makes a lot of sense. to me makes a lot of sense. This is a golden opportunity. I mean, this is an old saying, and sometimes it is, I don't know, a crisis is as well an opportunity. This is a crisis. We are living in a deep crisis at the moment. But this is a crisis which is providing an opportunity. Indonesia has a great opportunity. So I personally would say this is a great opportunity for you to develop that industry, to have electric battery production here where they seem to need the nickel. So I think it's a golden opportunity to develop that industry. I would not say that, at least I haven't heard that Indonesia is seen as a greedy nation. No, I have not seen that. There are certainly conflicts about where should the industry be, but this is an old topic in development economics that emerging economies want to have more value added in their country and less in the developed world. And so I personally would say neither is there actually a moral problem, nor is it not justified for you to have a battery industry. I would hope that Indonesia would be on the map of the investors around the world, because I personally think that when I look at most of the industry I observe, it is not a national effort anymore, it is an international effort. When I look at the big investment in Germany, it is not a German company only. It's a German company plus the French, plus the Swedish, plus an American. So I would hope that Indonesian companies team up with other companies, and would develop that industry. I personally would say this is the challenge. When I look at the image of Indonesia in my country, people look at Indonesia in a positive way, but overall in a way of neglect. The way Europeans look at Indonesia is we don't recognize what kind of great country, what kind of big country, what kind of country with big potential there is. People don't know about the nickel resources. They don't know about the rubber production. They don't know about the 16,000 islands. They don't know about the large number of people here. So I would say this is the opportunity. The German companies are at the moment, I mean, this is a different discussion, trying to reorient their investments from China to other Asian countries. And not only the Germans, the French, the Italians, the Swedish. So this is an opportunity to say, here in Indonesia, we cooperate with Americans, we cooperate with all Europeans, maybe African countries and so forth and the like. So I see the potential you describe. I feel there's nothing wrong with you doing your own thing in that respect, trying to develop the resources. I personally would, given my perspective on Europe, say don't assume that in the production of electric battery you can do it alone. I think you can't. I think you need to work with American Tesla or Volkswagen or Renault or Chinese or so. So do it together, but use this opportunity to develop Indonesia in a way that people in Europe, in the United States, recognize the potential. My observation is they do to some extent, but not to the extent they should do. Given your size, your importance, you are a G20 member, you are the fourth largest country in the world in terms of population, you are an emerging economy which provides for democratic stability, so the potential is there. So let's use this opportunity to exploit it.
I think we have one more question. Okay, we have one more question from Zoom. The one that joined us in the Zoom meeting. Okay, here we go. We have it on the screen. What the indicator of business sustainability? Thank you. Okay, Professor Mayer, you may answer the question.
Yes. You know, this is just recently I gave a presentation on ESG criteria. ESG, such a big thing. Ecological, social and governance issues. Nowadays, around the world, ESG has become a catchword to describe are actually companies following the rules of sustainability and good management of enterprises, ESG. When you look at the indicators developed to measure ESG, it's incredible what kind of long list we have by now. There are rating agencies which rate all the enterprises which want to be seen at the international or national level according to their indicators of sustainability. And the indicators of sustainability, they are sort of broken down because sustainability is like resilience, a very broad term. So we have to break it down. And so we measure in terms of what is our carbon footprint, what is our water consumption, what is our consumption of land, what are the wages in comparison with the minimum wages, how many women are employed in our company, what is actually the number of shareholders from other countries, and so forth. So the rating agencies, if you want to dig deeper into this field, look at rating plus sustainability plus ESG, and you would find a very detailed list of indicators used by international agencies to give us a grip on this difficult concept of sustainability, which is quite often misused by companies. We call it greenwashing. So the greenwashing is sort of, we just claim we are sustainable, we have a sustainable business model, we do everything for environment, then we donate some money for some good cause, and we think it's good. But it's not good. But nowadays, there are lots of rating agencies, lots of activities. At the moment in Germany, I tell my business students, at the moment, the development or the employment of people who work within the companies and who specialize on measuring of working with the indicators on sustainability, the employment of such people has shot up. In the last 5 years or so, the number of people working for Siemens, Daimler, Volkswagen, other German companies, medium-sized enterprises who developed a sustainability report has shot up. In Europe, we have a directive that is kind of law, which is called Non-Financial Reporting Directive, which is making mandatory for the large firms to report on the sustainability they represent. And they have to use indicators. We have, like you have it here, you have the Indonesian taxonomy, we have a European Union taxonomy. So measuring it is a very important, it's a very good topic for you people who do research. In The Economist, they recently criticized the ESG criteria quite heavily, but it's around. So measuring sustainability, measuring our impact in terms of ecological, social and governance issues is a big thing. Wonderful topic for research. Thank you very much for this wonderful question.
Thank you so much, Professor Mayer, for your time and also for your material for all of us. Now you may be seated. Thank you so much. Give a round of applause, everyone. And honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, of course, our meeting today is very important. So it can give a benefit to increase the competitiveness and accelerate the economic growth, especially now here in Bandung, West Java, or Indonesia. And next, for the next agenda, will be hosted by Vice Dean of the Faculty of Economic and Business Pajajaran University, Dr. Kurniawan Saifullah SAMHC. Please welcome Pak Kurniawan. Sambil mempersiapkan juga ya untuk kursi dan mikrofonnya. While we are preparing set up the stage, because after this we're going to have our speakers to share information with all of you. Okay, Pak Kurniawan, time is yours.
Thank you very much, Miss Master of Ceremony. Good morning, everyone. Selamat pagi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. In this plenary sessions, I would like to directly invite our distinguished speakers. First of all I would like to please Dr. Tui Chung Pan from School of Banking, University of Economics, Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, which will be share with us about sustainable finance. So please have a seat. And I have also got also the message due to the amendment that we have did from the morning sessions. I would like also to invite online our distinguished speakers from Denmark. He's CEO of Siemens, Mr. Bjarne Lykke Sorensen, PhD. Okay, welcome. Good morning. Or maybe I'm not really sure. Very early morning, Ms. Bjarne. I hope you are doing well. Could you?
Yes, you're right. And thanks for the invitation. And you're right. It is a little bit early here in Europe. So. Thanks.
I'm so sorry to disturb your sleeping time. But we are delighted to have you here through hybrid. I guess this is one of the advantages of the technology. Before we would be pleased our distinguished speakers in our plenary sessions. Due to the we'll let's first of all Mr. Bjarne Lykke Sorensen to give your speech first, and then I will please my colleague Dr. Chun Pang Tui to deliver her speech. So due to the amendment of the schedule, I hope that you don't mind if I would like to please you for 50 minutes. But first of all, I would like to introduce our distinguished plenary speakers. Bjarne Lykke Sorensen is Managing Director of Siemens Digital Industries Nordics and Baltics, and member of the Siemens Nordics and Baltics Executive Committee. And furthermore, he is the Chairman of the Board in Siemens Industry Softwares. And as Siemens Digital Industry develops, produce, and sells product systems and software to totally integrated automated systems and can deliver complete systems to create the digital enterprise. Siemens Nordics consists of the following 8 countries: Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Finland, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, and Iceland. There are around 1,000 employees. Bjarne has a PhD in management with a specialization in the digitalization impact on customer satisfaction in a B2B market, and a Master of Science from Aarhus University. and he's also a board member of the Manufacturing Academy of Denmark and member of the ICE Committee for Research and Education. I hope I'm introducing you correctly, Subian. So without further ado, I would like to please the times and Zoom to you.
Good. Thanks a lot. I hope you all can hear me. It works okay?
Yes, we could hear you clearly. Thank you.
That is super good, yeah. And then first of all, thanks for the invitation. It's a big honor, and I'm really happy to talk about this topic. And then also for the other speakers which have already been here, I think that was very interesting because they had some of the same topics as I also will be touch upon. Rethinking and creating resilience to enhance business sustainability is simply a great topic, as also been mentioned before, and it also fits very good into the things we are working with. Okay, perhaps I should start to introduce myself very shortly. By the way, thanks for the introduction, as I'm also the CEO of Siemens in Denmark, and then in Siemens you always have a lot of other roles at the same time. So that's great. Then there's one thing regarding me is that I feel like I'm at least 25% Indonesian because I'm married with an Indonesian woman, and by the way, I also have a daughter with an Indonesian citizenship and a Danish citizenship, by the way, also. So it's especially an honor for me because that is my second home country. And if it stays here in this close circle here, I will say that both me and my wife actually prefer to be present in Indonesia. I'm not there today. I would have loved to have been there. I'm sitting here in Denmark in Europe and looking forward to this. Then a short presentation to Siemens. I will not spend too much time on that. I could talk for hours, and I think all of you know. But basically, Siemens is active in smart infrastructure, which is about intelligence and building automations in building, and also for societies. We are active in digital industries, which is digitalization, automation in factories, manufacturing area. Then we are active in mobility, which is train and actually also the infrastructure around train and electrification. Healthcare, health and years, where we also are very active, and for example, CT, MR scanners for hospitals. And then also in our family with the Siemens name, we also have Siemens Energy. So I think that was the short introduction to that one. And if we could go to the next slide, please. Super. You know, I think it's so amazing when I look into the other presentations earlier today that it seems like we had, you know, somehow aligned our presentations, because it's very much when we talk about resilience, all of us have been talking about digitalization and decarbonization. And I think what we are looking into here is a double transformation. And what makes that so interesting is it's a double transformation. Not only we as a company is going to do it, all companies around the world is going to do both the transformation for digitalization, decarbonization, but also society needs to do it. And I think if I should start with the decarbonization, a good example is that, you know, I'm from Danish, I'm a Danish citizen. And by the way, do you know that Denmark is actually a very big country, because the Royal Kingdom of Denmark also consists of, for example, Greenland. And when you then add the Royal Kingdom of Denmark together, it actually have exactly the same size as Indonesia. So this we also have in common. But we are only 6 million people, which is like no people at all, and you are 275 million. So there's a big difference there, but actually the size of it. But in Denmark, we have a strong focus on decarbonization, like you also have it in Indonesia. And we have made the target that we want to reduce the CO2 emission in Denmark with 70% in 2030, compared, by the way, to the 90 levels. And if I then look into Siemens, then we also have a target for decarbonization, and that target for Siemens is a net zero CO2 emission in 2030. It's actually a good example where that this decarbonization is a thing we work a lot with, both in the companies and also in the societies and the countries. And I know also now Indonesia have set ambitious targets, and we were hearing that earlier. Regarding digitalization, it's actually exactly the same story, that companies need to be digitalized. In Siemens, we call it the digital enterprise. And exactly the same in society, you also need to be to use digitalization and take the advantages of that. And what is really good about this is the double transformation. You can say, wow, we have a lot of work to do because we have to do both two transformations at the same time. Yeah, but they actually can support, because digitalization can actually drive decarbonization. There was one interesting thing a couple of months ago. I met with the Indonesian ambassador in Denmark, and we talked about digitalization. And there we agreed about that to make digitalization, you actually need to have trust. You need to have security, and you need to be sure that the data you are giving in is treated in the right way, and you also need to be sure that nobody can hack into your systems. And that's an interesting one, this trust-based and security, and I will come a little bit back to it. I've also been mentioning earlier today, and here it's actually the same as a society. As a company, you need to establish that there is this trust and security about it. So digitalization, decarbonization is the double transformation we all have to face as companies, as countries. Good, I think we can take the next one. Thank you. Coming into talking about this digital transformation, I think we live in interesting times. And I think it was mentioned before here that if you just go some years back, we did not even have a digital world or digital tools, but now we really have that. And we also see that now we have a digital world and we have a real world. And in the digital world, you can have a digital twin of the real world, and you can have a digital twin of your product, or you have a digital twin of your production. And by the way, you can actually update it from data from the real world. And this is actually a little bit the core in the digitalization. And to get a little bit perhaps down to earth, you know, I have an iPhone placed here, and my iPhone have an Apple ID. And this Apple ID, you could actually see that is basically the digital twin of my telephone. And if I get so excited to have the honor to speak in this conference today, and I lose my telephone on the ground and it smash, then I can just easily buy a new one, and then I can take the digital twin, my Apple ID, and then I will be up running in a few minutes. And that actually gives a very interesting us. What is actually the important one, and what is the real one? Is it the digital twin, or is it the physical one you have? And if you talk about it in this, you could say that the most important one is the digital twin, the Apple ID, because everything else is just a copy of that one. So this to think in this, that we need digital twins, and digital twin can then get data back from the real world and be updated. And I will come a little bit back to that topic, because that is a little bit the core in working with digitalization. Good, I think I would, next one. By the way, to everybody, don't get nervous. I actually only have 5, so I don't have that much. So talk about this again. Now we have this with this correlation or help we can get from digitalization into a decarbonization and to make a sustainable world. First of all, I think increased energy efficiency is super important. And if you take buildings or production, if we use digital technologies, we have an opportunity to save energy by being more efficient. And by the way, to be more efficient as a company or as a society, you can say, of course, as a company, we need to be efficient, because else we cannot compete in a global market. But there's also the sustainability in it, and the most clean energy you can have is the energy you don't use. And therefore, we also have to work with that. We, of course, have to find ways to produce energy without making CO2 emissions, but at the same time, save energy where we can save energy. Then there's increased productivity, and again, productivity is of course to be able to compete in a global market, but it's also about that using your raw materials or our resources in the best way, and it comes a little bit also with reducing waste. I also liked before here this talk about the ESG, and there, you know, this is a really big thing, and by the way, in Europe, and I think that will be coming all over, you will see a lot of reporting coming into how good are you actually at this, and not only that. So when you come at the end of the fiscal year, you'll not only be reporting about your financial results, you'll also be reporting about how good have you actually been. A lot of KPI in your ESG work. Then there's one thing I really love, and this is this move production closer to market. It actually also comes into a little bit what we have talked about earlier today, to establish more production in Indonesia, but with the new technology. And let me actually give you an example. Already now you can actually get a digital twin of your foot, and then you can go in and buy the shoes you want to buy, and the shoes will be exactly made for you, so it fits your foot, and then it will produce the shoes for you, and it will be produced by 3D printing, or what we like to call additive manufacturing, and in that case it will be produced close to you. Because if it's an individual one and you do it with 3D printing or additive manufacturing, there is absolutely no reason that it should be produced in one factory, one place in the world, and then distributed to the rest of the world. So then the consumption and the production will actually be pretty close to each other. And the reason why you can do that is, of course, you get the total supply chain digitalized, and of course also that you use technology to do it. So just to say that what we will see in the future is that production will move closer to where the consumption is. By the way, you can also see that again, that you have the real world, you have the digital world, and you use the digital world to optimize what you are doing in the real world and the digital enterprise. Of course, there's also elements in that you will shorten your R&D processes, and you will also be able to reduce cost of training. There's one thing I also would mention, because it comes a little bit into the next one I also want to show you, and that is the IoT thing. Because IoT, Internet of Things, where you actually get data back, and these data from the real, and then you can update your digital twin. And if I should give you a good example, now you see it a lot in production, but you see it in a lot of areas where you get data back from machine you have out running, and these data you use to update your digital twin, so you are able to produce a better product, a better machine, a better car tomorrow based on the data you're getting in. Closed loop manufacturing and this continuous improvement. And I will come a little bit back to that one, because the combination of the digital twin, the IoT, actually also gives you an opportunity to develop new business models. So I think we will go to the next slide here. Terima kasih. Good, yes, the world are changing. And how can we be resilient in a world which is changing? The first thing I want to talk a little bit about is new business models. And I think some of this really have the potential to change the world. And if you think into this IoT example, where you get data back from a machine, you have made a machine, you have it stands as a customer, and then you get data back. Then you could say, how will the world be in the future? Will you actually buy a machine? Will you even buy a car? Or will you have it as a service? In Siemens, we of course already is selling a lot of our software as a service, SaaS, and I think that model is well known for everybody. And you also see it now in other cases where you can see that you actually pay for something when you are using it, and you are not owning it yourself. And the interesting thing, if you think about in the future, will instead of selling a pump as an example to a customer, instead of selling the pump, you will sell the water it is pumping. And because you are connected with Internet of Things, you get the data back, and then you can bill the customer when he's using your pump or your machine, or by the way, driving in the car. And this is just a totally change that you could go in that instead of selling a product or a machine or this, you actually sell what it is doing for you. And I think that's really have the potential to change a lot. Then there was, I really like the first speakers here was talking about what happened when Corona was coming. And what we saw when Corona was coming was that actually first there was a going down the economy and we had a slowdown, but then fast afterwards everything went up. Consumption, global consumption went up, of course also because of a lot of the money which was pumped into the system. But if you look into as a company, you was really being tested in your speed and your flexibility. How fast could you actually go up again and go down again? And I think that is what we see as a company, that we need to be able to be flexible and having this speed. And I really also enjoyed seeing the other speakers talking about exactly that is the same for a society. Society also needs to be able to be flexible and adaptable and also do it by speed. Quality is of course that you have to be able as a company to produce of quality, and the efficiency again is so interesting because efficiency is both of the sustainability and the decarbonization and to be think about how we use our resources, but efficiency is also of course about to being able to compete in a global market, to produce and in an efficient way. And by the way, again, it also applies for societies, also have to be efficient. Then the security thing, and I started a little bit out talking about this, that if you have to do digitalization, you really need to think into the security elements into it, because you need to have a trust that and trust in it, that if you are digitalizing your company, or by the way also digitalizing your society, and talking about using digitalization in your society, perhaps some of you know it, that Denmark is the most digitalized country in the world and the most digitalized society in the world. And that can only be done because there is trust in it that there's taking care of these data, and it doesn't matter if it's a company taking care of it or if it's governmental institutions. So trust is important, and security is very important to take the full advantages out of digitalization. Good, and the next one?
I apologize, I have to remind for the last 5 minutes, yes.
Yeah, the next slide, I think I'm done correctly?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. So what I can say now is terima kasih for this invitation. It was a big pleasure for me to be invited here, and I must also say that this topic here is of high interest. So thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bjarne Lik Sørensen. Really, although it's only a few slides, but it's really fundamental in this business transformation, particularly with your presentation on the business model. And one of the vehicles of the sustainable business that we have also to consider the financial sectors, in which our other distinguished speakers will also be share on important issues on sustainable finance. For that matters, I would like to please Dr. Thuy Chung Pan. She is a Vice Dean of School of Banking, University of Economics, Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Let me introduce her for a short. Okay, she did his first degree and master degree in University of Economics, Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, and she did her PhD in Trier University of Germany, and then currently she is also serving as a Vice Dean of at her university, and recently she just received award as a Best Reviewer from Emerald Publishing through Journal of Asian Business and Economic Studies. Without further ado, I would like to please Dr. Thuy to deliver her speech, and I have to apologize to remind you that probably due to the time limit, so I would like to have you for about 15 minutes, and then we will have a short question and answer session with both of our speakers. Please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kuniawan. And very great honor to be here, to be a part of parallel discussion at the Garcombs conference. This is really a great experience for me, especially for the parallel section. I also prepare a very long presentation. Maybe I have to cut it down a bit. But first of all, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the organizers, the deans, the vice deans, and the organizing committee on the PhD students who really, done amazing work for this conference. Thank you very much. And I believe that all of the hard work you have done today will be the great reward in the future. And what I would like to share today is something that get people attention worldwide. We already share the same interest in to fighting climate change. But I will talk from the perspective of finance and banking. Can I have my presentation slides, please, the organizer? Okay, thank you. Yeah, would like to please move to the next slide. Please, can I have the next slide?
Next slide, please. So, I guess a PDF.
Didn't work, right?
Okay, need some time. There's a...
Okay.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, in this, I just would like to show you some photo. We share something in common, especially Indonesia and Vietnam are among the countries most vulnerable to climate change impact. And we can feel that recently the extreme catastrophic climate events more and more intensify and unpredictable in our country. And to combat the climate change, the Vietnamese government, Indonesian government joined with other global leaders to really make a commitment to fight the climate change by implementing UN Sustainable Development Goals by 2030 and to achieve the global net zero target by 2050. That's already one of our keynote speaker mentioned in previous presentation. And definitely during this movement, financial sector play a central role because it can transform and also absorb and support the recovery by reallocating financing to climate-sensitive sectors. And in this talk, I would like to give first an overview of green banking, and the second discuss about the current status of green banking development in Vietnam. Please, for the next slide, the outline. It's a little bit like the lecture slide. Sorry for preparing that, but I would like to share my research interest in green banking and finance. Actually, we have to take a look deeply in the concept definition of green banking and raise the question why we should to do that. And I would like to have some highlights, points regarding the current state development of banking in Vietnam and Indonesia. And before coming to some conclusion, I would like to, highlight some interesting research finding in finance and banking using our country context. And what is green banking? This is the very big question we easily can find in the textbook. And please move to the next slide. Okay, according to IFC in 2015, green banking is a blend of a bank direct environmental impact reduction together with managing environmental and social risk in their decision-making processes and support business and industry that positively impact the environment and society. At its simplest, green banking is any type of or any form of banking activity that support environment, and any bank can be defined as green banks if it provides financial product that associated with environmental commitment or direct their core banking, their core activity towards sustainability. But when looking into the literature, we can see there are many overlaps between the definition and concept of green banking. Please move to the next slide. For example, in the study of, please.
Next slide, please.
Yeah, in the study of Bihari 2011, green banking is similar to the concept ethical banking, or according to Indian Research Institute of Banking Technology in 2013, green banking is an umbrella term referring to practices and guidelines that make banks sustainable in economics, environmental, and social dimension. It can be defined as a subset of sustainable banking, which tend to capture broader environmental, social dimension. And in this aspects, I would like to take into account the approach suggested by EU environmental production. Please move to the next slide. We can see a clear definition of green label for banking industry. The sustainable development is inclusive concept, which include 4 dimensions, but the green only include the environmental aspect, but exclude the social, economic, and government dimension. But in many studies, they mix it up between the green label and sustainable when they implement the data to find out how, for example, what factor affects the green banking implementation, or to find the challenges the banking system has to chase in order to implement green banking practices in different contexts. And please move to the next slide. Yeah, in this slide, just want to show you there are a variety of green banking products and services. For example, it can include an array of loans which support the green project, or it just minimize the impact of the regular project in environments. It can also include the green insurance, securitization, or in some country, the banks can allow to provide the brokerage and market making for trading green bonds and carbon credits. In Vietnam, we not allow as banks to provide the brokerage and marketing services. We separate our system into commercial banking and investment banking as a form of stock brokerage companies. And please move to the slide where we could find why we should, in the next slide, please. Why we have to do the green banking in our financial system. Please move to the next slide. We can see green banking is important in the economics and ensure the economic stability, because it can fill the gap between like government funding and the needs of society in sustainable practices. And when implementing green banking practices, the bank can gain various benefits, such as they can mitigate the risk associated with climate change, and also they can increase their operational efficiency or improve their brand image or create awareness among stakeholders, for example, employees, increase employee satisfaction or improve the market share. And now, what is the current status of green banking development in Vietnam, Indonesia? I would like to start to present some key points in the green journey of banking system in Vietnam. Please move to the next slide. Another slide, please. Okay, now take a look at some roadmap of green journey, from the Vietnamese banking system. Actually, financial sector started its green journey since our Prime Minister set the national strategy for green growth in the period between 2011 and 2020, vision to 2050. And under this plan, under this strategy, financial sector have to proactively contribute to the founding and the building of green financial sector, which consider 4 core components. We need to have green credit, green stock, green bond, green insurance, and the last one is green monetary fund. But starting from this in 2012, and the State Bank of Vietnam implement different decisions on the implementing a banking action plan, including green banking. In 2015, in the green banking action plan, the State Bank of Vietnam are more likely to focus on the green credit availability. But recently, in 2018, we make the big move when the State Bank of Vietnam approved the scheme for green banking development. And under these decisions, the State Bank of Vietnam requests all of the financial institutions have to increase the weighting lending activity to green bay project, together with integrate the environmental and social risk into their lending activities. Please move to the next slide, and we can see some statistics about how far we have done regarding green credit. As you can see from the data by June 2019, reported and launched by State Bank of Vietnam in 2021, the green loans outstanding represent a tiny share of the total banking system loan outstanding in Vietnam from the 2015 until 2019, only about like 2 up to 4%. But when looking into the structure of green banking, the majority of green credit went to agriculture. And for the clean energy, the figure just account, the percentage just account for 15% of total loan outstanding. And how about Indonesia? Now we take a look at some information about Indonesia to see, like Dr. Diat from OJK, and I learned a lot from his presentation, and I feel that Vietnam really stay behind in terms of the framework for promoting green banking in Vietnam. And let's take a look for the next slide, please. And the next. This is the roadmap of Indonesian Green Finance Framework. It started the same time with Vietnam in 2012 when Bank Indonesia joins SBN, Sustainable Banking Network. OJK joins 1 year later. And in 2014, OJK issued the Sustainable Finance Roadmap for the period 2015 and 2019. And since there, OJK implemented different types of guidelines, handbook regarding for promoting clean energy or green bond, and even the really clear guideline for green banking in Indonesia. And in 2019, OJK developed the roadmap phase 2, which focused on, because the first roadmap focused on, increasing the awareness of sustainable banking in the financial system. But in the second roadmap, prove the highest development of green banking in Indonesia as compared to other countries. Is what to create the green banking ecosystem in Indonesia by implementing SGD and also give financial support for innovation and development of green financial system towards sustainability. Okay, let's move to the next slide when we have some good example how in the first roadmap OJK leads the Indonesian banking system to implement, to promote sustainable finance practice. With, for the beginning, for the first pilot project, just with participation of 8 greatest banks in Indonesia. And then they also, during that first roadmap, they initiated the Indonesian Sustainable Finance Initiative to invite all the financial institutions to join as the first move. And please move to the next slide. And in this slide, I would like to share my opinion regarding how important Indonesian banking system play in the financial sector. Like Vietnam, banking financial asset accumulated accounted about 80% of total assets in Vietnam, which play the most in Indonesia, which play the most important role in supporting the economic growth in Indonesia. But however, the domestic credit to private sector offered by banks in Indonesia just less than 40% of GDP, which is the lowest as compared to other countries in Southeast Asia. And please to the next slide. Okay, that's what should be highlighted. That's what should be highlighted in regarding how to develop the green bond market. And for over 9 years, Indonesian ranked the top 10, the green bond market in the top 10 green bond market in the world. And they are really successful. Please for the next slide. Successful regarding the introduction of green sukuk, in the global bond markets. And over the 4 years, they already issue and to attract financial investors from around the world to support for green growth in Indonesia up to $2.5 billion US. That is a very good lesson we should learn as Vietnamese academic researchers. And please move the next slide. Actually, it is some key research finding in green finance and banking in Vietnam and Indonesia, but maybe I don't have time. And please move to the last slide. The last slides. The last slides, yeah. I have some suggestions regarding policy implication and based on the research I found from, not last slide, the conclusion. Yeah.
Before the slide before, one more.
One more, thank you.
One more.
Yeah,
please.
this one maybe it's okay. This one is just all of the policy implication. We can come up with a discussion later. But what I would like to say is that when it comes to climate change and find the solution for our planet, we should expand our perspective to the global scale. And the COP27 will end today. Yeah, the upcoming solution for our climate change will come soon. But what I would like to say is that together we can make our world a better place. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Excellent presentation. So we have two similarities between Bian and also Tui, that both are talking about since we are living together in the same world, so we have to fight all the green issues together. And we only have limited time, so I would like to place one question from the on-site and one question from the online. So please, firstly, I would like to ask if there is one question from the Zoom. Is there any questions? Maybe the committee could help. Is there any chat, any question in the chat box? No? Okay, then I would like to...
May I have a questions for Dr.
Maybe later.
Okay.
You are the person to be asked later. Sorry. Okay. Okay, I would like to please first, and then if we still have time, the one to our Dean from the Udayana, I could see. Yeah, please. And then our recently Professor Richie. Thank you. Due to the time limit, I hope you could go directly to your question. Thank you. Please, Dr. Agung? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I will represent my dean to ask the question. Okay, thank you so much for the very interesting presentation from our speakers today. I have a question for Mr. Sorensen, for the CEO of Siemens. Thank you so much. And I have question regarding, it was really brilliant strategy regarding double transformation that considering digitalization and decarbonization. However, to be frankly, actually, is Siemens actually more profitable by being more greener? I mean, by being greener, care about the sustainability of the environment. Is actually Siemens more profitable by doing that? Because according to the current news that we know, many of big companies fails by meet their promises regarding doing the sustainable environmental sustainability. So I would like to ask about your comment regarding because many companies says that ESG investment is very expensive, and it turns the profitable of the companies lower by doing the ESG investment. So that's my question is, I would like to ask about your comments regarding this matter. Thank you so much.
Yeah, very interesting question. It's related to the Professor Mayer's earlier comment. So Professor Dr. Sorensen, you could just directly answer the. Thank you. I look that you wear our batik. Nice.
Yes, of course, yes. You know, by the way, also I forgot to mention that I'm also teaching in Unpad and being a supervisor there. So yeah, good. Regarding the question, thanks. But I think it's an excellent question about this. What is the combination about decarbonization and working as a sustainability and then being profitable and earning money? And I actually see it that we have been talking about sustainability for many years, but sustainability is actually now business. And with that, I'm meaning that if you are not participating in this, will you then be relevant in the future? Because this is an important task for us. And then if you look into Siemens, we actually think that this is what we do. And if you look into electrification, automation, digitalization, it's all about making the energy consumption more efficient or to produce energy without making CO2 emission at all. So therefore, I would actually say that it's a little bit the opposite way. It's simply a precondition to be successful and be a profitable company to work with sustainability and decarbonization. So I actually think it will go hand in hand, and I think if we hopefully meet here again in 3 or 5 years or 2 years, then we will see that companies who's really going into this one and helping this transformation will also in the long run be the most profitable one. So I don't think there's any contradiction between the two ones.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I hope that answered the question.
Yes, I guess so. Then one more last question, quick questions. Professor Hamzah Richi. This is one of our lecturer who also focuses on this issue of digitalizations. Can any committee helps to our speakers provide? Thank you, Dr. T.
Thank you, Pak Kurniawan. I would like to address the questions, again to Sorensen. Hello, Dr. Sorensen. Yeah, I want to point to the notion of trust. You mentioned that a couple minutes back about how to develop or how to establish trust when we were employing the transaction. And as part of the digital twins consequence, you need to be able to provide the security or at least some kind of trust when you want to deal with your business partners. I would like to know or hear from your comments. What are your comments about building the digital trust here? I mean, I happen to be one of the member in information systems, cybersecurity, and IT governance, ISACA, and global-wise, we are thinking about developing the digital trust framework. So perhaps you can give a little bit like a Europe voice of how to develop the digital trust in that sense. Thank you.
Thank you very much for
Thanks a lot.
Yes, directly you can answer, Mr. Sorensen.
Super. Thanks a lot. It's you can see I'm so excited because it's a really good question. And in Siemens we have developed a charter of trust where we are going together with other companies, globally companies, and saying, let us together work to make it safe. And I think it is again really a precondition if we want. Yeah, sorry, you did not hear that much. It was actually a super interesting speech, but I was on mute, so I'm back again. Yes, thanks for the question. It's a super good one. And in Siemens, we actually have built a charter of trust together with other companies around the world, big companies. So we say that we need to work in an ecosystem. So we are really not only us, but we are several companies working for that to make it safe. And then, by the way, in Siemens, we are also selling software to companies. And to be able to sell that, you also have to convince them that the data will be safe. It's not hackers cannot come in, and you need to have detection systems, and this way you can build trust into it, because without the trust it's difficult to go into the digitalization. So I think this is a super important one. If you talk about societies, I think it's the same. The citizens need also to feel secure that the data is working and you cannot come into it. And perhaps there's even a lot of research to be done, because we all know there is, if you go from country to country or from company to company, there's different levels of trust. And I'm pretty sure that if you investigate this one, that the level of trust in general compared to how much you are able to make digitalization is pretty close correlated. So thanks, there's a lot of work to do there.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Sorensen. Yeah, they say if you go digital, then you lose your privacy, and then trust becomes the most important issues. Is there anyone to, because then I would like to please Dr. Tui, because probably we have no time. So because you also would like to ask, I would like to give you an honor to you to ask to Mr. Sorensen, and then this will be our last question and answer session.
Thank you for your presentation. Before me, I learned a lot how to put the topic of sustainable digital business model. But I would like to ask the question regarding to develop a new business model when we already have our model, right? But because of the target, the global target, or because of the framework the government implemented, we have to follow. And now we convert our current business model into the, for example, sustainable business model. And in your suggestion, you mentioned 5 pillars, right? First of all, speed, flexibility, quality, efficiency, and security. But do you have any suggestion for the conservative or business? They have to, because it's due to the limited resources, and they have to give priority, right, to those 5 pillars. What is your suggestion on which one could be the top priority for them when developing the new business model towards sustainability, and because of the limited resources? And in the, during the transformation period from conservative business model to sustainable digital business model, what we should do in between? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tui. I guess it's about the issue between the gap between those who are ready and not, and the transitional process, perhaps.
Thanks a lot, and it's great also to get a question from our presenters here. So also thanks for your presentation, very interesting. And by the way, if I must make a short comment, now you're from Vietnam, and many Danish companies in the moment actually also invest in Vietnam, where there is a lot of opportunities, as well as we see here in Indonesia. Coming back to your question about this thing, it's super good because everybody have limited resources. And there you have to think about where to actually to invest. And I think that we talk about this with the new business models. I actually think that there you have a tendency which can change a total market. Let us take an example that you have a company in Indonesia who is producing a machine, and they're selling this machine to end customers around the world, and they're installing this machine. If then suddenly the end customers say, I don't want to buy your machine anymore, I just want to buy what the machine is doing for me. If you then are not digitalized, if you are not having IoT to your machine, and by the way, you not even have a digital twin or something of your machine, you could be out of business. Because what the customer wants to buy is not more your machine, they want to buy what the machine is doing. So therefore, I would say in the prioritizing that if you are a company and you don't think into these new business models about as a service, you could actually end up in a situation where you will not be relevant at all. But I think it was a difficult one to start to prioritize about them because, again, it's difficult to make new business model based on digitalization if you don't have the trust and the security in your system. And that was actually the last one of the pillars there. So, but I think this that every companies around the world really have to be aware that when things are changing and business models are changing, there's big opportunities, but there's also big risks.
Can I answer him
Yes,
a bit? Yeah. And thank you very much for your insightful answer. And yeah, it is also my question myself when I'm looking into the research in terms of green banking and finance. And maybe we have to think about what should be prioritized, right?
Yeah.
And thank you very much for your comments.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Tui. Thank you, Dr. Sorensen. With all those answers, I guess I have to close our plenary sessions with I would like to ask a big round of applause to both eloquent speakers. Thank you very much, Dr. Sorensen. Thank you very much, Dr. Tui. And we hope that we gain so many knowledge and experiences during these sessions. And I would like to give back the sessions to Miss Master of Ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kurniawan Saifullah, SAMHA. Okay. Now, honorable guests, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I guess we almost reached the end of this session event. I remind you that after this, we will have a lunch break. And for the Muslim guy, you also need to go for Jum'ah prayer. But after that, we will once again gathered here in this room. But before that, I also have an information, would like to one more time invite on the stage Dr. Tui Chung Pan and also Prof. Mayor also join me on the stage because the organizer would like to give a special gift for you. And this afternoon will be given by Pak Yudi. Pak Yudi also would like to, I would like to invite you, join me on the stage. Oke, sedang dipersiapkan juga oleh panitia ya. Boleh mengundang Bu Nunui juga untuk naik ke atas panggung? Oke. Nah, ini mungkin nanti akan diserahkan bergantian ya, satu-satu begitu. Oke, Bu Nunui to Prof. Mayor This is also, can we have a round of applause? This is also a thankful gesture from Doctoral Management Science Pajajaran University to our speakers for their time and effort to prepare giving the material for all of us here. Okay, we will take a picture first. Yeah, thank you so much, Pak Yedi dan juga Bu Nunui. Thank you, Prof. Mayor and Dr. Tui Chung Pan for your time. So I guess that's a wrap for this session. I hope all of you enjoy this time in this ballroom Savoy Homman Hotel. And I would like to remind you that after this, you will have another agenda because it's a 3-day event, and I will also would like to thank not only the participant in this room, but also all the participant in the Zoom meeting because they also join us virtually. Boleh lihat nggak sih, ada kelihatan nggak sih yang di Zoom-nya ingin menyapa juga? I would like to say hi all the people in the Zoom. Okay, here we go. Can we all give a round of applause? Even if they are not made it here, but still from the start till the end, they still with us. Thank you so much. All of you guys are awesome. And thank you so much one more time. I would like to say thank you for all of you on behalf of the organizer. I guess this is my time. Dona Dameria should sign out for now and enjoy the rest of the day, not only today but until tomorrow. Selamat siang. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Recording stopped.
Okay, I need to inform for the next agenda for the soft launching for the ASEAN Faculty of Economic and Business Collaborative Working Group will be held in a different room. So the room is across from this ballroom. So on the back of apa ya, di belakang ruangan ya, sebelah mana sih ini, barat timur? From across of this room or this room of this ballroom. So 1:30 anyone for the next agenda is at 1:30 p.m. for the parallel session. And for all of you that would like to take a video or picture, the organizer already prepared the 360 angle camera that will be set up on the stage. You also can try to take a documentation with our 360 camera, 360 angle camera. Later will be set up at 12 p.m. ladies and gentlemen. Jadi untuk yang mau mencoba untuk kamera 360 nanti akan ada pukul 12. Silakan mengabadikan kegiatan dan juga kebersamaannya. Nanti pukul 12 dengan kamera 360 derajat ya. For the parallel session, ladies and gentlemen, will be held in 4 different rooms, and shortly I will inform you about which room you should get in, and the information about the room will be available in front of the room.